Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
And on the black line in front of the TV, say your full name. Say your name.
What's your name? Good afternoon.
Pardon?
What's your name? What's your name, please?
Justin John Pichette. Is this an
Thank you.
arraignment, ma'am?
It is an arraignment. You understand you have the right to have an attorney represent you at this arraignment?
Yes, I would like one.
You would like to have the attorney represent you? Then you're going to have to go in front of a camera and talk to them so they can get the information from you that they need to represent you, okay?
Can I actually speak? Is this a 72-hour hold, or I was placed on a 72-hour hold April 26th, Friday, for child support or charges. So I'm being charged on Sunday.
Mr. Pichette, you're being charged with assaulting, resisting, obstructing a police officer, which is a felony that has a maximum possible penalty of up to 2 years imprisonment and or a $2,000 fine. You also, however, have a habitual fourth offense notice, which would enhance your possible maximum sentence. So you should probably speak with the attorney so they can fully explain all of this to you, as well as your rights. We can get you in front of the camera so they can do that. They can explain everything to you. And then
I would
if you
like
have
to be in front of a law judge, a real judge. If that's the case. If that's the case.
I'm what you got today. So this is
Not speak over me. I will use my voice.
Sir, you have the right to have an attorney represent you. You also have the right to speak at your arraignment. However, I've muted you momentarily so that I can explain your rights to you and ascertain whether or not you would like to speak with counsel. All right. DDC, go ahead and unmute.
Go ahead, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Are we here again for another
Mr. Pichette?
Is this an
Mr.
arraignment?
Pichette?
Yes,
I'm going to, Mr. Pichette, be quiet for a moment. Okay. I'm going to be respectful to you, and I'm going to give you a chance to speak, but I'm going to speak, and then I will give you a chance to be heard, sir. But first, I'm going to advise you of your rights. Please be silent so that you can hear them as I give them to you. Okay? You have a right to remain silent. All right? If you choose to exercise your right to remain silent, no one can penalize you for that in the future. The prosecutor cannot comment about that in the future. You have the right to be presumed innocent until you are proven guilty, right? You have the right to have witnesses appear at your trial if you choose to have one. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to question witnesses. You have the right to ask the court to order witnesses to appear for you if you have someone you'd like to appear as this case goes on. All right. And you also have the right to testify if you wish to do so. Now, I've already told you what you're charged with, so I will now allow you to speak. You did hear that you have the right to counsel. DDC, go ahead and unmute Mr. Pichette, please.
Go ahead and let's play the tape back a third time then, I suppose. Go ahead and pause it. All right, let's start one more time.
Anything else you'd like to say on your own behalf, sir? We're going to move on to arraigning you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to mute you so I can hear from the people. Madam Prosecutor, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Lisa Coyle, appearing on behalf of the people.
All right, we do not have defense counsel representing Mr. Pichette today. Do you have a position as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. The people have no objection to a personal bond, but we're asking for tether house arrest, Your Honor. Based on the fact that he spit on an officer, arm and jacket. He was allegedly going in the backyard of a home. At this point, I noted in the APA's notes, they didn't charge him for the home invasion because they couldn't contact the complainant, so I don't know what's going to occur at that point. But I do note a history of a 2015 and a 2017 OWI third and a fleeing and eluding in there in 2017. For this matter, I'm asking for high personal bond tether house arrest.
Your Honor, Your Honor, I would note that Mr. Paquette did say that he wanted to have counsel. Can I ask him a couple questions prior to the court? I just want to make sure
Sure.
that Mr. Paquette, do you hear me? You said that you wanted to have counsel, or you do not want to have counsel?
What am I being charged with again, sir? I'm going to remain mute.
Okay.
I'm mute.
Well, listen,
Remaining
Mr.
mute.
Paquette.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to listen anymore. I'm standing mute.
Okay, well, that's
This is an
being
official arraignment, I
quiet. That's
suppose.
being quiet, Mr. Paquette. I just want to know if you want to have counsel, because you have the right to counsel. If you do not, you also have the right to represent yourself.
I'm
But I just
standing here at
sure.
DDC, handcuffed with a bunch of MDOC men. I don't have counsel here. You asked me to stand mute. Should I be quiet? I don't know. Is this Guantanamo Bay? What is
Okay,
this?
Mr. Pichette, what you're charged with is really likely to result in a personal bond despite all this commotion, and you can go ahead and
I'm
get
not
out of
worried
it.
about it.
The
That's what
only
I'm
charge in front of me, is assaulting, resisting, obstructing, noting for the record that they said Mr. Pichette was cooperative when they first arrested him and kind of became more combative at the hospital. So I'm not seeing him as an overall risk to the community. Nor do I suppose there could be some flight risk here, but that can be addressed through the tether, as people have requested, to deal with any possible flight risk. And I do think there is some. I'm also doing the tether because I want to ensure that Mr. Pichette does not return to the address where this is alleged to have occurred, and that if he does return to that address, that we will know
What would I
about it.
do if I had well, how would I go about getting my property, since we are having a court date apparently on a Sunday in Michigan without an attorney present? Since we're doing that without
An attorney present, sir, would you
Mr.
like to
Paquette.
exercise your right to have
my
an
property,
attorney?
I have a sawzall, I have a Gerber knife there, I have a tent there,
What
I
we're
have
gonna do,
blankets
would
there.
you take Mr. Pichette
How would I
to
go ahead
camera
and get my
2? Please,
property?
can you take him to camera 2, please? I'll bring camera
Ma'am,
2 in so
I
he
don't
can
care
have
if there- I
consult
don't
with
care if there's
counsel.
100 cameras,
Ma'am,
man.
I can't take him to
I know
camera
you
two. He
don't.
broke it.
I know you
I didn't
don't.
break camera 2. I unplugged it because unfortunately this is like a Nazi country apparently.
All right, we're gonna go, I've got camera 2 in. I can put a breakout room with camera 2. And
No, camera
then-
two doesn't work.
Johnny, he explained to you that he unplugged camera 2 and it
He
doesn't
unplugged
work.
this, and it doesn't work.
I've
anymore.
got camera 2 on the screen right now. It's working.
The video
It's
works, but
working.
the audio doesn't work.
Audio is not working anymore, Judge.
Okay, because he unplugged it, okay. Do you have, well, if there's a risk of him then damaging camera 3, we're not gonna do that. All right, Mr. Reagan, please advise Mr. Pichette of his rights.
Mr. Paquette, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you, Mr. Paquette. You have an absolute right to an attorney to represent you at no charge. Our office will represent you
What's charged?
at absolutely no charge. We will represent you. We will listen to you. We will talk to you. We will go over all of your rights with you, and we'll go over the facts of the case with you today, so you understand what's going on. You have an absolute right to have a trial by jury.
I'll stop you right there, sir.
Where-
Attorney
let me
Bill
just finish.
Reagan.
Let me just finish, Mr. Captain.
P5715.
I just want you to know you have a right to a trial by jury where the prosecution has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you actually committed this crime, each and every element beyond a reasonable doubt. But the most important thing you have, Mr. Paquette, is right to a bond, a reasonable bond, okay? Where the magistrate can set either a cash bond or a personal bond. Cash bond, where you have to pay money to get out. Personal bond is where you don't have to get paid. We would be asking for a personal bond on your behalf, Mr. Paquette, so you can get out. Or whatever other conditions the magistrate imposed on you. But we want to make sure that you understand this before, and talking is not necessarily a good thing because you say things sometimes that may be held against you. So we want you to kind of not talk about the case. Do you want our office to represent you today? Would you like for us to represent you?
I'm standing mute and I'm done here, sir. We are done here.
Okay.
All right,
Now, when you
thank
bring
you.
a law to
That's a no. All right, bond is going to be set in this case at $50,000 personal. Defendant will be allowed a one-time escort to get his belongings. Other than that, he is not to return to 17600 Fenton in Detroit. And he will be placed on a GPS tether prior to leaving jail to help ensure that. Next court date is going to be May 6th, 8:30 a.m. for probable cause conference, May 13th, 8:45 a.m. for preliminary examination. both in front of Judge Giles.
Yeah, female sign, just a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you.